Midweek Pictorial, January 22nd, 1920. A futile attempt to invade the president's privacy and take a snapshot of him while enjoying the open air on the White House grounds was made a few days ago. Spurred by the success of a similar trick in picturing the ex-Kaiser, photographers on a hay wagon sought to get the picture. The attempt was frustrated by Secret Service men. Last members of the American Expeditionary Forces to leave Europe on January 9th. None of the more than 2 million AEF men are now left in Europe. Men now on Rhine are of other organizations. The men are here seen enjoying coffee before leaving. Some of the 1,687 immigrants who arrived on the SS Kretik at Boston January 7th. They numbered citizens of nearly every country of the world. The immigration regulations are to be greatly strengthened and strictly enforced. Map of the United States showing the dates on which the various states adopted prohibition laws that have now become nationwide. Andrew J. Volstead, Republican representative for Minnesota, and father of the bill to enforce wartime prohibition that has been upheld by the Supreme Court. During the enforcement of the prohibition law in Seattle, Washington, the officials charged with the work were compelled to use drastic means in certain cases. The picture shows a seeming drugstore where liquor was the real commodity sold, being demolished with thoroughness. State officers in Seattle discovering one of the many hiding places for the surreptitious trade in intoxicating liquor. There were many such, but the law's supremacy was speedily asserted. The easiest and most thorough way of getting rid of contraband liquor seized in a raid. The barrels are taken to the nearest curb, broken in, and their contents allowed to flush the sewers. Steamship City of Miami outfitted as a floating oasis for the thirsty travelers from Miami to Havana. Bars are partially fitted up and liquor will be sold outside the 3-mile limit. Left to right are shown S. Norteva, Secretary of the Russian Soviet Embassy, and Ludwig C. A. K. Martins, self-styled Russian Soviet Ambassador to the United States. They have been subpoenaed to appear before the U.S. Senate Committee. Dr. Viktor Pachaksky, otherwise known as Dr. Page, who was arrested in a raid on the office of the communist newspaper Novy Mir. He was an associate of Trotsky and a naturalized citizen. Anna Manson, often referred to as the Queen of the Reds, who has been sent to Ellis Island to face investigation and possible deportation. She is an ardent leader of the direct action element. Some of the alleged revolutionists rounded up in Portland, Oregon during the nationwide raid of January 2nd and succeeding days. Those here shown were bribed to have their pictures taken by gifts of cigarettes. Over 6,000 have now been enmeshed in the dragnet of the federal authorities. Deportation proceedings will be taken where guilt is proven, and it is reported that transports are now being overhauled and provisioned for that purpose. Types of revolutionists who have been gathered in by the Department of Justice, which has now over 6,000 such in its toils. The foreign aspect of most of the faces is evident. The majority of those arrested are aliens. Headings of some of the newspapers which have been the most ardent advocates of direct action, which when analyzed usually means revolution. Some of their plants have been raided by the Department of Justice, and many of their editors and writers are now under arrest. Group of radicals, many of whom face deportation, at dinner on Ellis Island. The island at present is unusually crowded, owing to the unprecedented activity recently shown in rounding up revolutionaries. But the food furnished is good and abundant. Reds snapshotted at Ellis Island while at meals. A riot took place when the arrested men realized that they were being photographed. A rush was made for the cameras, and some of them were smashed while the mob tried to manhandle the operators. Laboratory kitchen of the Office of Home Economics in the Department of Agriculture, where a multitude of recipes for the American kitchen are tested out. Gas and electricity are used in cooking. Drying box in the Office of Home Economics in the Department of Agriculture. In the picture, the assistant is about to dry some celery and add it to the asparagus on the shelf. An important factor in the experiments of the Department of Agriculture for the housewives of the country is the calorimeter. This is an airtight, moisture-proof box which registers the amount of heat given off by ripening fruits and the amount of carbon dioxide generated. Its careful construction makes it 95% efficient as an incubator, while the ordinary commercial product of the same nature is only 60% efficient. Longest telescope in the world, nearly 6,000 feet above sea level, Pasadena, California. The science of astronomy has been greatly stimulated and enriched by the creation of the longest telescope in the world, described in part by the accompanying pictures. The creation of the lens of such an instrument is a work of almost inconceivable delicacy and difficulty. It was roughcast in 1905 in France, and it was 1917 before the work was completed. The grinding alone occupied 6 years. How powerful it is may be illustrated by the fact that while the unaided human eye can detect only about 5,000 stars in the whole range of the heavens, this 100-inch lens brings within its purview 300 million stars. The idea held in view in its construction, however, was to study the sun, and a remarkable photograph of that luminary is herewith shown. The tower of the telescope is 164 feet high. The ray of the sun first strikes the big coelostat, or moving mirror, in the dome. It is then reflected back into the upper or second mirror, and from that is sent down the telescope tube either through the large 150-foot focus lens at the top, or through the 60-foot or 30-foot focus lenses, respectively, according to which one is the most suitable for the work in hand. The upper lens gives a solar image nearly 17 inches in diameter. The middle one gives a 6.5-inch image, while the lowest gives a 3 1/4 inch image. All three are mounted on movable brackets. The optical parts of the spectrograph, which records results, are near the bottom of the well. The chief result thus far obtained by the new tower telescope is the discovery of the magnetism of the sun. Diagram showing the rotating coelostat, which rotates following the sun, and the method by which rays are transmitted to observer. Diagram showing how the rays of the sun are conveyed to the base of the tower, then up again to the photographic plate at the ground level. The optical parts of the 75-foot spectrograph are near the bottom of the well. Intricate and marvelously delicate construction of the Great Telescope at Mount Wilson Observatory. The interior is here shown of the observation room at the bottom of the tower. The telescope brings within range 300 million stars, but has been constructed with a special regard to the sun. Most remarkable photograph of the sun ever secured, taken with the spectroheliograph of the telescope of Mount Wilson Observatory at Pasadena, California. The diameter of the sun is 860,000 miles, and its immensity is accentuated by a showing of the relative size of the Earth in lower left-hand corner.